Happy day to all. In this video, we are going to discuss about the very important topic in testing of material. The topic is material testing. So, we are going to discuss in detail about why we have to do the testing for engineering material, what is the need, purpose for the testing, and what are all the different methods of testings are available. First, we will see about the material testing. For any engineering application, we have to use the material. In the previous video, we have discussed about what are all the different types of engineering materials available. For example, there will be three types of engineering material: metal, non-metals, and composites. So, before using any material for the various application, we have to test the material in order to use it in a proper way. Because if you are taking any kind of material, it will hold the certain properties like mechanical property, electrical property, optical, magnetic property, etc. So in order to define that property, we have to test the particular material. So this is the main purpose of doing the testing to the engineering materials. So first we will see the definition of material testing. Material testing is nothing but the measurement of characteristics and behavior of the material such as metals, ceramic or plastic under the various conditions. The data thus obtained can be used in specifying the suitability of material for various applications. So why we have to do the testing? What is the need for the testing? Means the materials are tested to assess numerically the fundamental mechanical properties like ductility, malleability, toughness, etc. By the material testing, the data obtained are used to define the certain characteristics of those materials. If we want to use the material for any application, first we have to investigate whether there will be any defects or flaws present in a particular material. So the materials testing plays a main role in order to find out the surface and subsurface defect in your materials. And the material testing is also used to find out the chemical composition. That is what are all the different kind of raw materials are utilized in it and what are all the different percentage of raw material present in it. So these are all some need of the material testing. So after doing the material testing, what we are going to do by the results, that is the purpose of testing. So the material testing is used to determine the properties of the raw materials. For example, if you are taking the copper, that is a material which will come under the metals. So in order to find out what are all the different raw materials present in a copper, we can do the material testing and we will able to find out the chemical composition in it. So if you are taking any material, that is the alloy material, if you want to find out what are all the raw material present in it, what are all the percentage of amount of composition of different minerals or etc. present in it, we can go for the material testing. And apart from the material surface defects, subsurface defects, composition, we can also find out the certain properties. Like by doing the test, we can able to find out the mechanical property, electrical property, thermal property, etc. So the main purpose of testing is to determine the properties of the raw material, to check the quality, to check the finished product, the property which will hold physical, mechanical and chemical, and if there will be any types of defects present on it. So if you want to find out the defects present on a surface or subsurface means we can go for the non-destructive testing. Now we will discuss about the what are all the different types of testing are available. So for the any application, if you are choosing the materials, the material will be the metal, non-metal or composite. So after you know about the material testing, need for the material testing, we have to select the types of testing we have to implement it to the particular materials. For example, if you want to find out the properties means you have to go for the certain type of testing. If you want to find out the defects means you have to go for the certain type of testings. So if you want to find out the properties, defects, chemical composition, etc., etc., we have to choose the correct suitable testing methods. So in order to select those testing methods, first you have to aware of what are all the different testing methods are available. So now we will discuss those things. For example, if you are taking the materials and if you are applying the load, so by the application of the load, how the material get reacted. By the output of those things, we can able to define the certain properties of the materials. So the application of the loading itself gets varied, static, dynamic. So the intensity of the load can either be temporarily constant or vary permanently. A constant stress intensity is also referred as static loading. If on the other hand, the level of stress varies in its intensity and its or direction is known as the dynamic load. So these are all the two kinds of load we can apply to the material in order to find out the properties by doing the testings. So what are all the different types of testing available means there will be three types of testings are available. One is the destructive, second is the non-destructive, third is the process inspection. So destructive testings. So destructive testing means you will take the material, you will apply the whether dynamic load or static load and you make the material to fail or deform. Okay, the surface of your material surely get damages. So by the application of the load and making a sample to fail, if you are finding the certain property of the material means those testing are come under the destructive testing. Okay, so in order to find out the performance or characteristics of a material, you will apply the any kind of load and you will make the samples to fail. And at the output, you will find out the properties or constants. Few examples of destructive testing are compression test, hardness test, flexural, impact, fatigue, creep, etc. So after the testing, you are not supposed to use the certain sample for your reuse because surely the samples get defective. So non-destructive testing means under the non-destructive testing, just you will find out the surface characteristics, that is if there will be a presence of cracks or any flaws in it. In destructive testing, you will determine the properties or constant, but in non-destructive testing, you will find out the surface flaws or subsurface flaws. For example, if there will be a presence of any cracks or damages in it. So those testings are come under the non-destructive testing. During the non-destructive testing, you are not allowed to fail the sample. The sample which is you are using for non-destructive testing is used for reuse because the samples are not supposed to fail by application of the load and all. Just you will find out the surface flaws. So there will be a not the application of the large amount of load on it. Few examples of non-destructive testing are ultrasonic testing, dye penetration inspection, magnetic particle testing, eddy current testing. So these are all the some difference between the non-destructive testing and destructive testings. The last testing is process inspection test. So the name of process inspection or process test may come from the type of manufacturing where it is performed, such as foundry, welding, assembly, etc. There is a first piece inspection or final piece inspection of sampling or check inspection. The location often affects the name of inspection, as in receiving or inspection, conveyor or open inspections, stores or stock inspection. So the process inspection test is nothing but randomly you will pick the samples from the foundry or welding assembly and you will just find out the flaws by your naked eyes. Those testings will come under the process inspection testing. So these are all about the what is meant by material testing, why we have to do, purpose, and what are all the different types of material testing available. So if you are taking the any kind of the engineering material, before using the certain type of engineering material for the any application, you are supposed to do the test and you have to find out the properties of those materials. Okay, so this video will help you to find out the need, purpose, and types of material testing. These are all the some of the reference book. I will attach the details in the below the link. Thank you. Happy learning.